The 2014-2015 hockey season is underway, and the Blackhawks have already made some questionable moves without playing a single game yet. They already traded away the young defenseman Nick Leddy, and they just signed Daniel Carcillo, the 29-year-old grunt man, to a one-year deal. Now, Brandon Mashenter was already signed for the Hawks to get that enforcer role filled on the fourth line, but he went down with an injury and will be on the IR for some time. So, in Blackhawks fashion, they decided to go after Dan Carcillo, who was just dropped by the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, dating back to 2010, I used to believe that it was always Joe Quenneville who would employ these face-punching, gritty grunts. But if you go back to 2010, they had Ben Eager. From 2011 to 2013, they had Brandon Bolig and Carcillo on the 13 team. In 2014, they just had Brandon Mashenter, and since he went down, now they just signed Daniel Carcillo. So I'm starting to believe more and more that it's not Joe Quenneville and all his old-school hockey schemes that have always wanted an enforcer role, but it's also Stan Bowman, who prides himself on and really promotes the advanced stats and hockey analytics approach. Now, if you don't believe that the Corsi and Fenwick percentages matter, go back and look at all the Stanley Cup winners of the last years. The team with the number one team in Corsi for percentage last year was the LA Kings. The number 2 team was the Chicago Blackhawks. The number 7 team was the New York Rangers. Now, in 2013, the number 3 team was Boston, and the number 4 team was Chicago, who won the Stanley Cup. In 2012, the LA Kings had the number 2 overall Corsi for percentage, while New Jersey had the 12th. In 2011, Vancouver had the 5th and Boston had the 14th best. And in 2010, Chicago had the 4th best and Philadelphia had the 19th best. So the only year in which the team with the better Corsi for percentage, or wasn't in a top 5, that won a Stanley Cup was in 2011 when Vancouver lost to Boston. Now, dating that to fighting majors, also, the team with the most majors, the major penalties in the hockey season last year, or I should say, team in the bottom 10 were Chicago, LA, New York. In 2013, Chicago and Detroit were both in the bottom 10, while Boston was number 4. Of course, we know how that ended for Chicago. In 2012, LA was number 17 and New Jersey was number 9. Now, Chicago was also number 9 that year, and they had a first-round exit that year. In 2011, also the only year that this doesn't work, Vancouver was in the bottom 10 and Boston was number 3. Of course, Chicago was also in the bottom 10 in majors that year, but they had that 7-game first-round series with Vancouver, and it really looked like whoever came out of that series was going to the Stanley Cup. In 2010, Chicago was again in the bottom 10, and they beat out Philadelphia, who was number 1 in major penalties, in a 6-game series. So again, in 2011, it's the only time that the team with less major penalties and better Corsi for percentage, or at least a top 5 Corsi for percentage, didn't win the Stanley Cup. Now, on to how I really feel about fighting in hockey. To me, fighting is nothing more than a gimmick used to attract fans and attract people who don't really understand the game of hockey. If you really do love fighting, go sign up for another pay-per-view event for Floyd Mayweather, or go watch Spike TV in their latest season of UFC fighting. But to me, hockey is more about skill, it's about goals, it's about great saves and awesome assists. They don't call Wayne Gretzky the Great One because he punched 15 guys in the face. They don't call Patrick Kane one of the most electrifying players in hockey because he's the biggest grunt out there looking to bash heads in. And dare I bring up a St. Louis Blue, but TJ Oshie's run in the 2014 Sochi Olympics wasn't capped off because he decided to tackle 13 guys in the Russian squad. No, it was because of his amazing shootout skill that he used to defeat the Russians. Now, along with fighting, if you enjoy fighting, great. Go watch a minor league hockey game. But if you really, really, really love the game of hockey, you should really be focusing on goals, assists, and great saves. Why? Well, go talk to a fan that doesn't know much about hockey. What's the first thing that they're going to bring up whenever they watch hockey? Oh, when's there going to be a fight? Oh, is there a fight? Well, the gradual number of fights have gone down over the years, and if that's what you're bringing in fans, it's not going to work because the numbers keep dropping. So, case in point, don't let something that's a dying art, very respectfully should be a dying art, be the one thing that's hooking new fans in. How about great plays, amazing shifts, breakout shootout goals? That's what should bring in fans, that's what should keep fans, and that's what you should be rooting for as well. Again, I'm Jim Kress with City on the Take. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoy the more that will come during this hockey season. Thank you, have a good one.